regulation does not stop crypto banks. They are actually flourishing. The banks in general are very good with regulation, right? It's actually a regulatory machine with a fintech, like very poor fintech stack. That's what a bank is, right? So when crypto services appear, you would see the massive big banks, they actually respond much faster because they have the means. I think that Tether was saying in an interview, CEO of Tether was saying that they're not interested in North America and Europe because one, there's no clients there because they are already banked, and two, the regulatory environment is very confusing for crypto companies.
Hi everyone. Today we have an esteemed guest. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi guys, my name is Sergiu Hamza. I'm the CEO and co-founder of CoinExams. We are an award-winning off-chain analysis platform. We do something different. We're doing by off-chain, I mean everything that is not CoinExams doing, and in a way we're very complementary. So we're looking at the crypto economy at a country-by-country basis. So we're not looking to so much as cryptocurrencies and tokens, but more of everybody else that is kind of enhancing this ecosystem. So we started being quite well known for the global crypto ranking. It was a fun way to put all this data into good use. And then at Ethos, we started looking at what is the compliant way to deal with crypto for people to buy Bitcoin legally in their country. And 2021, it was not a good, there were not so many references, but now there seems to be more and more. So we're very, very busy.
Perfect. So how did you get into crypto initially? Like, obviously, I guess you were into crypto before you launched CoinExams.
So I have a background in math. So I used to work on a security company for the euro and passports, right? So back in the day, we would use something like this to go and look at the security on the US dollar, right? It's the security elements that you put them, right? So you have a small, this looks like 18th century tech, but it's still in use for trying to, like if you're going at the passport security center, or if you try to authentify fiat, right? You would use one of these magnifying glasses. You look at security elements like ultraviolets and whatever. And I was working brand protection and on digital signatures while Bitcoin was emerging, and we thought we were very smart back then, thinking that it's never going to survive, because look at us, so cool technology we had. So for me, it was very, very easy to understand and follow along. And then I went into pure innovation and with Accenture, and after 5 years of like the Global Innovation Center, I went on full Bitcoin.
Perfect. So you are just focused on Bitcoin or also like on crypto in general?
Well, Bitcoin for me has a special significance because I think I just understand it more. It's just maybe more appealing with my math background. It's more interesting. But I think what we were trying to do with CoinExams is trying to onboard people, trying to figure out everybody in their own country, where should they buy Bitcoin, where can they store it, and you probably need to pay your taxes on it at one point. You probably need to have legal assistance if you get in trouble, or if you make a lot of money, right? You will probably need some advice. So we're trying to make these guys to advise people on how to do that securely in their country. It was and it's still very blurry as a territory. It's changing now.
Yeah, I see like a lot of countries are trying to make like some concrete framework so it's easier for people. So when you say like consult people, is it like one-on-one consultations, or are you creating like maybe like a system or a platform for automated like advice or like assistance?
So obviously, we can provide one-on-one advice. We are focused on gathering data from the global ecosystem, and we give that advice through two ways. One, looking at the country level, so gathering as much data on a country and trying to have through the country guides some specific advice for people in a specific country. And then a second layer, which is a little bit macro, is providing these reports. And one of them, they're industry reports. There are about 10 or 15 of them, getting different angles of the crypto economy. And one that we recently did, and I want to share more insights about now, was the crypto banking report. And we started talking earlier how crypto banking is changing drastically. We've seen only in the 2 years that we're running this report that each year you get a massive difference from the year previous. So I think those provide, again, help the industry as a whole, and advance the understanding of leaders and advance the understanding of users and business users like you.
If I understood correctly, also like from our earlier conversation about the crypto banking, that you focus on banks that actively advertise or like basically say that they support crypto, because a lot of banks like tolerate crypto, but maybe some actually promote it or like actively show their commitments to basically support transactions related to crypto in one way or another, like off-rammy, on-rammy, and all these things. So
Yeah.
so like, how do you see the trend going? Is it like increasing that more banks are supporting it, or because of regulation, more banks are shying away from it?
So it's extremely interesting, this territory. Last year's report, we only looked at the crypto banks that are crypto friendly, and I think there's several reports on that. You know, people kind of count as crypto friendly anybody that doesn't show completely Bitcoin. So if you are allowed to plug your bank account to or your credit card to your exchange, it was considered in the past a crypto friendly bank. Now the game has happened quite significantly, and I think this year what we did, we went at each individual bank's website and check if they advertise for crypto services. Now, and there's a huge surprise there, because obviously why did we took a crypto website is their platform to the world, how they communicate themselves in a way. But also pages on the internet can disappear in a bear market very fast, right? So if you in the beginning of a bull market start advertising crypto services that you are offering, then we took that into account. And if you just write a blog about blockchain and you consider that to be the future of fintech, great, but it doesn't mean anything. Right now it's more like, are you actually contributing to the ecosystem? Are you supporting founders? Are you supporting other cryptocurrency companies? Are you bringing innovation to the market? And I think this this territory is actually very crowded. We had a bunch of leaders also contributing, and getting their input was very interesting. Obviously, crypto banks come in all sorts of sizes, right? The t-shirts go from XXS to all the way to Mega XL, right? So we try to talk to a lot of leaders and try to get their feedback of what is actually going on crypto banking, and how the banks adopt new solutions and how they try to support the ecosystem.
Perfect. So is it like when you talk about the banks, and maybe I still haven't understood, like, is it like increasing? Is there like more banks supporting crypto even under this new standard? Like, if I understand correctly, you are raising the standard on maybe like a yearly basis, or like as we move on, because obviously the like whatever like was considered crypto friendly before is not the same today. But also for the bank sizes, is it just only the smaller banks or neo banks that are supporting it? Or it's also the bigger banks, you see like any of them supporting crypto or being crypto friendly?
So it's extremely surprising. Again, regulation does not stop crypto banks. They are actually flourishing. The crypto banks in general are very good with regulation, right? It's actually a regulatory machine with a fintech, like very poor fintech stack. That's what a bank is, right? So when crypto services appear, you would see the massive big banks, they actually respond much faster because they have the means. I was talking yesterday with a DeFi entrepreneur, and he was like, yeah, we can't invest in regulation. We're not interested in that. And then I think that Tether was saying in an interview, CEO of Tether was saying that they're not interested in North America and Europe, because one, there's no clients there because they are already banked, and two, the regulatory environment is very confusing for crypto companies. But banks, on the other hand, they have been dealing with the regulator and they've been lobbying for quite a while. So for them, adding technology features which they are missing is actually not only the only growth pattern that they have right now, because there's no other thing for banks than blockchain, right? As probably AI, but it's going to come a little bit later. But blockchain is the future of banking for a long time. And what we saw, for example, in Europe, which is the most regulated environment for crypto, banks are flourishing. So Europe is by far the place where banks feel comfortable to offer cryptocurrency services.
Would you say that like what is behind this push? Like, is it that banks are competing together to offer crypto services, or is it like the deregulated, like as you mentioned, the DeFi and all this deregulated entities that already has a market share and the banks want to take a market share from them? Like, are banks competing with each other mainly, or are they also targeting this DeFi space to get a portion of this market?
I mean, it's very interesting. And obviously, if you ask the DeFi community, they will say they will welcome institutions. You remember we were talking about institutions are coming for the past 4 years, right? They're coming, they're going to come. Now they are here and they are very much controlling the game. And in the same time, you would see the native cryptocurrency companies like exchanges or they're trying to get their head around how to compete with TradFi because TradFi has much more complex financial services, and Wall Street has the best selling machine in the history of humanity, right? They know how to sell financial products. So once BlackRock is started with the ETF, and we'll talk a little bit about that, we have opened the gate for TradFi and traditional banks to enter this playing field in a massive way. Now, what is happening, and for me, in the same time, it feels that they are closing the gates. So the barrier to entrance for the crypto ecosystem is gonna get bigger and bigger. It's no longer easy for a few people to just put something together, makes a few services and install themselves in a safe in a tax haven and operate from there because, well, you know, you're competing with the big boys. And what happens?
Would you say that regulation might be, as you mentioned, they have like this regulatory machine? Some regulation might be intentionally to basically push the competition out, which is unregulated.
No, we will have to wait and see. But and nobody can predict the future. But this has happened over and over again, right? Once there's enough attraction in an industry and it's big enough, because so far crypto was not big enough and Bitcoin was not big enough. But now that it is, you might see different type of bull runs, as some advocate, and you might see the bull runs and the prices of certain cryptos being completely linked and profits squeezed in the initial heavens and the initial countries like US and maybe a little bit in Europe, right? So US is still getting, like, they have the most banks as a country that are offering crypto services, following by the 25 and followed by the UK with 17. And what do we see? We see the same old thing that we use. This map starts to look like all the other maps that we all the time see, right? Europe has a lot of stuff. America is leading, and everybody else tries to chip in because profits need to go back to Wall Street. That's how this.
It's very interesting because one would have thought maybe like, especially a couple of years ago, that crypto services or the crypto economy is going to be moving out of the West, let's say, and going to Asia or maybe the global South. So it's interesting that these regulatory focused entities are actually doubling down on crypto.
Well, I mean, it's very interesting to see Dubai emerging right as a epicenter, and obviously you have Hong Kong now supplied by Chinese banks, and they do start getting a presence. Hong Kong was stopped for a while. It would have been much more advanced right now, but they're catching up super fast. The energy there is absolutely impressive. Dubai is solidifying its position, and it's on their way up for being the most crypto friendly place in the world, and to because they attract all the ecosystem. But in the same time, they are emerging innovation hubs, both of them. The traditional hubs, they take their time, and again, Europe is regulating this space for a while now. This allowed for the banks to start offering products, right? So you see here, Asia is second and North America is third. And North America is actually with the Asia is kind of leaping ahead because Asia is quite big, but surprisingly for the population, if you report to the population, it was supposed to be much more, right? The other thing is, being a non-regulated environment or ecosystem, it does allow for some technologies like stable coins to flourish through remittances, but what is the total value of that, right? Compared to what is flowing through the traditional hubs like London or New York.
Yeah, this is very interesting.
This episode is sponsored by DegreeSign. CoinExams platform was purpose-built by DegreeSign to be one of the best-performing platforms in the crypto space.
DegreeSign is an agency developing web products with a long experience of building products from scratch for maximum performance and stability.
Start today. Just email make@degreesign.com.
So when you mentioned Hong Kong, I was actually surprised because when I checked the report earlier, I saw China, and then I was going to ask you, like, how's it in China? Because in China, it's mostly like it's not very appreciated for banks to support. But then it is obviously Hong Kong. But Hong Kong also, like for the ETFs, I was surprised that they launched a huge number of ETFs. So are you also like tracking maybe like, is there like a link between ETFs and maybe bigger entities like BlackRock and all this supporting these ETFs?
So yeah, let's look at ETFs a little bit, because this was the big year of ETF, and ETFs are actually, Bitcoin ETFs are legitimizing for banks an easy way to access the crypto economy. And what BlackRock did was providing a blank slate for all Wall Street to start allocating money to Bitcoin, which is absolutely impressive what they managed to do in such a short period of time. It seems that they have a way to talk to regulator on this place. So in the same time, this is very much emerging right now. So if you're looking at the actual banks that offer this service further, it's a very slim. It's a very slim proportion compared to the amount of other crypto services that have started a little bit earlier on. So although it does have massive potential, we believe there's still a lot. We will see a lot of action in the next 2 years in this space, where not only one institution starts offering this, but many more, right? And I think where we saw and maybe an overview slide would be much more interesting to start with, is where we saw a big adoption or a big interesting transition. It was at the level of services. There's an interesting blend between traditional services of cryptocurrencies and traditional services for banks and crypto services. So what you see here in the beginning, you have traditional banking services like payments, cards, like debit card or credit card, interest on savings. So some of these things that you're used to from your bank, right? Insurance coverage. This is very much your bank that is used to offering that. But then you see like this nice transition here, crypto trading, right? Which is as big right now as insurance coverage, which is extremely surprising. Again, this is a territory that we haven't seen coming in the last year. A lot of these banks offer stable coins. Some they start offering crypto custody. Tokenization is very hot, and we have some data on there. Staking services. So what you see here is a nice blend between traditional services and crypto banking services that happened last year. And if I'm going back to the ETF discussion, so again, there's a lot of room for growth. In Hong Kong, you had something of a slow start compared to what we were expecting. There was a lot of noise around that ETF, and then it didn't materialize to the same level on the one in the US. But I think that it's just going to take a little bit of time to.
I thought that it's actually already very popular. I'm not following it. I just followed the announcements only. So yeah, I didn't know that. Interesting.
The other thing maybe worth talking about is tokenization, and this is tokenizing real world assets is everywhere right now. I don't think crypto is talking a lot about that. Is how do we take the whole economy and put it on big Bitcoin rails or on crypto rails, and have those services 24/7. I was doing an interview with the leader, and it was like a Friday afternoon, and I knew I was supposed to do a bank transfer. And on a Friday afternoon, if you miss that 1 o'clock, and it was like a weekend, for like a long weekend, the bank transfer arrives on a Tuesday, right? Or maybe on a Wednesday.
So basically, for the banks, I think the thing that's was most appealing to me, especially like let's say 5 or 6 years ago, was the fact that on Bitcoin you could transact like in 10 minutes. make the transfer, but on banks, yeah, it sometimes take 14 days. It depends, especially for international transactions. It sometimes takes long.
Yeah, international transactions are a mess and they're very expensive. And putting those transactions on blockchains would make a lot of sense for businesses. And I think this is where we're going. But also we're going to put, real world assets means we're talking about real estate. We're talking about everything that is connected right now. And it's extremely advanced in terms of financial service that is delivered by traditional finance, and we'll try to replicate that into the crypto economy and then kind of merge the two into a whole. Because this is what we're seeing right now. We're seeing the merging of these two worlds. For me, that for a bank to add a new service or just buying out a small crypto exchange, it's if they would find that worthy if there's market demand, they would do it in a heartbeat. It's very hard the other way around for a crypto exchange to become a bank and to get regulated.
I see. So I think also like regarding this, do you see like when they adopt crypto, do you see it only like B2C, like for example, they offering it to their clients, or are they also using it to settle maybe transactions between themselves, like between other banks using crypto? Because this was like a use case that was floated a couple of years ago, especially like with XRP and all this.
If you ask DeFi, they're going to say 98% is for institutional investors, 2% is for retail. And the reality is most retail lose money on trying to work with complex financial services. Even like if you have an account on eToro and you start buying some random stuff, you're 70% guaranteed to lose money, right? And they say it up front because I don't know, I think maybe it's because human bias comes into play and human emotion. So it's very hard for retail to actually not lose money on some of these sophisticated services. For what I see so far, obviously the majority of these services that we're starting to track are linked to offering to businesses and crypto businesses, which is already very exciting. Right now, if you like me have a company in Ireland and have want to discuss with the bank for crypto transactions, there's going to be a very hard discussion to have, right? So the fact that there are countries where this is happening, it's very, very exciting. And I think once entrepreneurs and the crypto ecosystem is starting to be supported by financial services, then you would have those companies offering better services to retail. It's not necessarily for the bank to offering that. I think it's just for the.
Do you see the trend that they are first offering it to their like institutional clients, and then it goes downstream from there? It's not the other way around.
Yeah, absolutely. Because imagine the liquidity. They're always talking about the liquidity and where is the new money coming from and when is going to arrive. There's two news in there, right? So it's a little bit nuanced. It's not trickling. These things don't really trickle down. It must be. I mean, banks are very efficient at capturing value and distributing that to shareholders. So it's not that these banks come in with new monies into the crypto ecosystem and at the end retail will flourish from it. We might get better services. We might be entertained like we usually get, but at the end of the day, you might not necessarily profit from it because all of a sudden you're fighting with people that have much bigger guns than yourselves. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword, I would say, for retail. For businesses, interesting also. I'm quite surprised that companies are still very, very, very excited and they seem very positive. I would see this for crypto native companies. I would see the coming of regulated entities into this space as a massive signal that their profits are going to start being shrink, right? What do you think?
I mean, yeah, I was thinking actually like about this. Like I understand that institutional investors have like a huge, let's say, obviously liquidity, and they can basically benefit the banks a lot. But isn't retail overall is also like a sizable market for the banks to target, like initially when they start the services, or is it like a huge overload because of the support and all this?
So I think the ones that are doing very good are the banks, the fintech right? The Web 2.0 or 2.2, you know, the
Like
Revoluts
the new
of this
banks, for
world.
example?
The neobanks, yeah, they would be the ones that understand retail, provide, and how to service users much better than the traditional banks, right?
I think one bank that was mentioned in this was Revolut, is it?
Yeah, yeah. Revolut is the far there in terms of offering services to users, because they're very good at that, and it's very easy for them to expand and capture the business the business sector also. Now they are extremely smart, and you know it's very easy. Now they started Revolut X, which is their crypto exchange. They've been working at it for years. I think it's 2018 when I was reading that they want to do a crypto exchange. But it kind of plays into the narrative that it's very easy for a bank to build a crypto exchange than for a crypto exchange to build a bank.
Yeah, that's actually fascinating to think about it, but it makes sense because I mean, if you buy the tech, it's like standardized, but the regulatory is like much more complex and takes time. But the tech, it might be plug and play, basically. Interesting. So I know, like you have your website. What other channels do you want to shout out?
Oh, just the website. I think Twitter is and X is a very real platform to get opinions, and you can always the messaging though is very like old social media is a little bit disturbing. You never know what you would. So contacting, I think through the website is the easiest way.
And how about your reports? Like, do you have? I understand, like you offer some reports. Are you like offering something this year, like a reports of some nature?
Yes, so we do have a media kit. We don't have much space on it. We did got some expert partnership and co-branding opportunities for this report. We're usually looking for partners that do contribute data and contribute a lot of interesting insights into the report, instead of saying, "Oh, we're the best token" or "we're the best exchange." Is more like, "Oh, we have this interesting data," and our next report is going to be on crypto taxes, and then the global crypto ranking
Are
with
these
very strong
reports
partners.
offered for free, or do you have like some paid reports?
So the reports are free. We found that the best way to give back to the community. The only thing that we monetize are obviously the partnerships. So the companies that want to be listed in the report, then we to a certain extent, right? So we because we're a media company, we don't have like a product to sell. So we're banking on partnerships, and then we're also trying to sell the data of the report. So the underlying data, we try to put them in the report. There's very few people, there's a small community that actually goes through the hundreds of Excel tabs, right, of the data. But the people that do need that, I think they get a lot of value out of it.
Perfect. Thanks so much. And yeah, hope you have a nice day. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks so much.